Hello and welcome to the Inside Scoop. I'm Pat Riley, and our guest today is our school resource officer, Officer Lou Pacheco. Welcome.
Thanks for having me back. It's been a while.
It has, but we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Yeah, busy and fun.
Because you're a full-time Raynham police officer and our school resource officer, and
Yep. Right
you do
now
a lot.
we're doing all the Raynham schools, and then I'm also over at the Bridgewater Raynham High School.
Excellent.
So I don't have an exact day I'm at certain schools, but I do get to all the schools throughout the week and get to meet with all the kids, and it's going well.
You've been doing that for a few years now, though.
Yes, except seems like right now we're doing a little bit more at the high school than we were before. But we're still doing our. We just finished our anti-bullying classes here at the Raynham Middle School with the fifth graders, which is great because it's kind of an introduction to me, because they're going to be in the school with me for the next 4 years, and then if they go to Bridgewater Raynham another 4. So we get to meet with them, go over some anti-bullying strategies, concerns, and I mean, it's a hot topic right now anyways, but the school, the Raynham Middle School does such a good job with the climate and helping, stay away from bullying, and I think it's just, it's one extra piece to have the police come in, talk to them a little bit, explain, again, some strategies and stuff, and let them know that they have somebody else they can go to other than teachers or staff. They actually could talk to a police officer if they thought there was a problem.
Well, you have a great rapport with the kids.
I think, yeah, I do, but I think it's through, a lot of it's through the sports that we do and the camps that we do, because, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but our speed camp that we do every summer is something anyone can do. It's not like a hockey camp or a tennis camp or a golf camp where you have to be good at a certain sport. It's all you gotta do is run.
Right.
And
most people can do that.
That's right, and just be willing to put in a lot of effort, and that's really what it comes down to. So that helps, and then when they see you all summer, and then you're in the school, certainly helps with the rapport.
Well, we've talked so much about how valuable it is to have that connection with the, our police in our schools, and certainly from the kids' perspective, to have somebody, put a face to the Raynham police, and if they have issues or concerns, someone that they can talk to and they feel comfortable talking with.
Yeah, and I agree, and I tell everybody, I've never seen, and I've worked in different towns, narcotics, drugs all over the place. I've never seen a community with a fire, the police, and the schools, and the volunteers. It's unbelievable how everybody just kind of works together. It's just, it's awesome, and the kids know it, so there's a certain tone to it, and I think that helps. It's not just lip service. You're not just saying, you're not just saying we get along. I mean, everybody really works for the best interest of the kids, and it's just a great community. So.
While you're in that topic of bullying, because obviously that is a huge topic, what advice do you have for parents as far as what should they convey to their children as far as, anti-bullying? Certainly if they think that they're being bullied at all, it's important to report it, I would think.
Reporting is the huge thing, and we could probably do a 3-hour show, and nobody wants to listen to me for 3 hours, but I think, unfortunately, the bullying term is kind of overused. There are certainly bullies, but for the most part, kids not getting along is not necessarily bullying. And you have to talk about that a little bit, because I think a lot of young kids are learning not how to cope with things, not using their coping skills to deal with situations that truly are not bullying. And then there's the Phoebe Prince type stories where a kid's being tortured. That's obviously bullying. We have cases where there's bullying and we deal with it directly, but a lot of times, when I talk to kids, I like to see them go to guidance, kind of have a mediator, talk some stuff out, learn how to deal with this stuff rather than just saying, geez, I'm being bullied and there's nothing I can do about it. So we try to have them work through it.
That whole conflict resolution.
Exactly, because most kids aren't bullies. What I mean? Most kids just have poor skills on communication. I mean, really is what it comes down to. And then occasionally, of course, there are bullies. I'm not saying there's not. But again, the school here and the climate here just promotes such good community. It's
and respect, for each other. And I know, like even with the little children, teaching them good manners, and that all factors into that, having respect for each other.
No, I agree. And when you go to the different schools and you hear the announcements and they give just little pep talks on being a good citizen or whatever it happens to be. So I agree with that.
Okay. Well, you've got some exciting things coming up. You and our Park and Rec are working on a couple of things. We've got a walk to school coming up, I believe.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well, which one do you want to start with? Dennis Bray the principal at the La Liberty School, is doing a walking school bus, which is the best way I can describe it is if you lived near the police station, you would start walking to school with a couple kids, and then you would go to the next bus stop, and then there'd be some more kids waiting with some parents. So you kind of just, as you go, you just kind of grab more kids and more adults, and you would work your way to school. And it'd be plenty of people there to make sure the kids were safe, but you would get yourself to school and you get some exercise. We don't have enough sidewalks and stuff to really get that done completely, so we wanted to kick it off with a walk to school from here, from the Raynham Middle School, and we're going to just walk just a mile, so almost exactly 1 mile, just over to La Liberty in the morning on May 2nd in the morning. And the fire department's involved. I know the Raynham volunteers are involved. The police department's obviously involved. And again, I just think it's a cool community thing. A bunch of kids getting in the, waking up in the morning and walking themselves to school. And long-range plan, I talked to Dennis about it, was, you can get grant money for sidewalks and things, which there are certain places in town that we could use that.
Sure, definitely.
To make things safer. So
it's kind of like a test run, and if it works out well, maybe do it on a more semi-regular basis.
Yeah, it's definitely a test run, and it's going to be once a month, I think, is the way they're going to try to start it, but I think they would like to do it twice a month. And then obviously when the weather is not good, they wouldn't do it. So,
right.
I mean, this winter they could have done it year-round, but I don't expect we're going to have that again.
So we'll see how that goes, but that's great.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Like I said, the police chief, fire chief are on board. I think the Chief Janice is actually going to walk with the kids, which is cool. And we'll kick it off. I heard we have a ton of kids signed up, and Dennis Bray said we had a lot of adults supervision as well.
Great, excellent, very good. And then we have discussion about a possibility of a teen center. Yeah,
teen center is again, Liz Francis is kind of Park and Rec is kind of heading that for us, and we're in the initial stages. But we have the South School, which is in Raynham, which I went to school there. Liz went to school there, so it's kind of nostalgic for us. We have the downstairs of that school, and we're going to open it up for, well, first of all, we have to really staff it. We want to make sure that it's extra staffed in the beginning. So the hours will be very limited in the beginning. Probably, I'm guessing, Monday through Friday, probably after school till 6 or 7 o'clock, just to get started. And then hopefully it could become a full-time type place where kids could be safe, kids could hang out, and like I said, I think it's a great idea. I think it's long overdue because usually that's an inner city thing, or used to be an inner city thing, but now with the economy, with both parents working.
That latchkey, that time when the kids are home alone and they don't necessarily have the parents there to provide the supervision, someplace for them to go.
Yeah, and it's a situation where, Raynham's a nice town, but most parents in Raynham, both parents are working. So I think it'll work out great, and then we have all kinds of things we've been talking about doing there. I know Bridgewater Police has offered a pool table and a foosball table and some other things that they had used at one point. So we're going to put that in there. I'm going to have my own room for like boxing lessons and things like that. Liz had talked about doing aerobics, yoga, and then of course there'll be a huge part of it's going to be, kids love technology, so a huge part of it's going to be for homework. There'll be computers and stuff in there, like a library, and then I'm trying to get Mike from cable. He's 100% on board with doing
a little studio over there.
Yeah, maybe? Studio where maybe the kids could make their own movie or do their own commercials, or I mean, technology and kids. Every kid loves it. They live it now. I mean, they've grown up with it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So we have huge plans. The problem
You've got a great property too. The backyard. Lots of activities could happen there. Sports activities and so forth.
Yeah, and the big thing now is luckily, a lot of it comes from you because you do most of the volunteering in this town. I think we set our tone by you. But we have a ton of volunteers, and we're going to need volunteers. Lowe's has volunteered to help us kind of get the place up to shape. In the past, Bridgewater Sand and Stone with Joe Arruda has helped us out immensely, and we're going to be banking on him helping us again. Jamie Tebow Construction, another guy who I don't know where he finds time, but he's always doing the playgrounds or whatever. He's offered to come down there and kind of frame some stuff for us. So Again, it's going to be a ton of volunteers, and then we're going to get a committee together, but I don't think it's going to be adults. I think we'd like to get a committee together of kids that are actually going to be part of the teen center. So we're thinking 7th and 8th grade are probably going to be the biggest component of it.
Right.
So probably 7th, 8th, and 9th graders to maybe be on a committee to talk about what they would like to see there.
Okay,
You know, because some of
great.
it's going to be, like I said, not doing anything. Some of it's just a safe place to hang out and do your homework, or a safe place to hang out and play some video games or whatever it is, but at least we know they're safe.
And they have supervision and.
And the supervision is, I mean, I can't say it enough. That's why, I mean, in the cities, they get $1 million grants to supervise these things, and we're going to do it with volunteers to start, and then hopefully it turns into something where we would be able to get money to make sure we could open the hours up bigger.
So you have the building, and obviously this saves the building too, because you know, it used to be a schoolhouse and now it's not being used for that. The upstairs, I believe, is being rented right now, but this will be a great use for the building.
Agreed. And again, it's just that, you know, and I'm obviously very pro Raynham, but it's just another one of those things where the town was said, yeah, you know, we asked, do you think we could use this for a teen center? And the town was like, absolutely. So, but just what you're saying, I agree, because there'll be some renovations.
Right.
The renovations are going to be done for free. And
That's
it's going to help the building as well as help all the kids in town.
Do you need any other support from the community at this point?
Yeah, I think
we're looking for donations, or
I think all of it. I mean, I think we're going to be looking for donations. I think we're going to be looking for help. Like I said, Liz is kind of the foreperson on this thing, and I just know for a fact that there's no money really. It's just the building and volunteers. So I'm guessing more help is what we're looking for. And then the kids. I was at the high school yesterday, and a couple of the kids from Speed Camp come running over and said, "The best idea you ever had, the teen center in town." So the kids have really kind of jumped on board with it, and I don't even know how. I don't know how they heard about it unless it was from your last cable show, maybe. But they actually grabbed me in the lunchroom, and they were just talking about, and they thought it was awesome.
Terrific. And now, obviously, we have the community service component at the high school too. So, you know, kids can do their community service in a really fun way by helping out.
Agreed. And like I said before, with the technology part of it, it's going to make it that much better.
Sure,
because
definitely.
you know, kids just love to get behind the camera, get on TV, and do their shows, and then they like the computer stuff.
Great, excellent. So, do we have any tentative date of when we want to kick this off? Or
Yes, we actually want to have the building up and running for September for the start of school. However, I'd like to do a couple of 1 or 2 or maybe 3 different dates in the summer, kind of a trial run, just to kind of get some kids in there and see how many kids we can actually hold, and all the things you just haven't thought of yet.
Right, till you actually get in there.
Correct.
Sounds great. Okay, so for more information, they can certainly contact Liz Francis at the Raynham Park and Recreation Department.
I think that would be our best bet.
Yeah.
I think that would be our best bet right now is to go through Liz. They can always contact me at the Raynham Police Department, and if you go to my voicemail, that'll go directly to my phone.
As well, okay. Good. Excellent. And then you will be having your summer programs as well. Yeah. Tell us about them.
The summer program is going to start on Monday, June 25th.
Okay.
It'll be the Monday as soon as school ends.
Right.
We don't waste any time. And we'll get the kids out there, and we'll be doing all of our normal stuff at Speed Camp. So it's the ladder drills, the parachutes, the sleds, and a lot of running and form. And we'll have all those kids out there. Now again, that program, much like the Teen Center and much like a lot of the stuff we do, is it's anti-bullying without actually ever using the words. We have adult. We have kids who are actually adults. So we have kids that are in high school that actually do our role modeling, and they'll lead the kids, and they lead by example, and the younger kids get to see the older kids teaching and working out, and then as the kids get older, they kind of aspire to be those kids. You know, they want to be the kids that are helping the younger kids, and you see it. You know, every year we do the Mike comes out and does the cable for us, and you see the 5th and 6th graders helping the 3rd and 4th graders. So it works out pretty good. 8 years old is our youngest.
Okay.
And we go right up through kids that are in college. And some kids just can't get away from it. They like to still come back and come a couple times a week to get their workouts in.
That takes place right here at the Raynham Middle School?
That's at the Raynham Middle School, and I probably shouldn't be throwing the hours out yet because I'm not exactly sure. But generally speaking, we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9:30 in the morning till 11. And we generally get anywhere from 30 to 100 kids per day.
Wow.
And we run them through. That's another situation, again, volunteers, random people. Jimmy Brow, who's a corrections officer, actually works all night, midnight to 8, and then comes at 8 in the morning here to speed camp and works with the kids 4 days a week, which without his help, I wouldn't be able to do that either. So.
And you really head that up, and the others are volunteer helpers that you have. That's awesome.
It's all volunteer, and we started it with about 12 kids. 1996,
really?
we started it with a, we didn't call it speed camp at the time, it was just a fitness camp, I think it was. And 12 kids, like 10 boys and 2 girls, and it just blossomed. And it was, you know, back then we were using the gym at the La Liberty School, the back gym. They had the small little universal weight room, and we used the gym floor to do our drills and stuff, and it kind of took off on its own. It just kind of kept going, and then I found that we were doing the stuff during the school year all the time, and then there'd be that huge drop off in the summer, and then you try to pick up again in September.
Right.
So we're like, you know what, we got this thing working after school. Let's try to, you know, add it to the summer program. So then we started doing it in the summers and went from 12 to
just grown and grown
to this past year, which was.
Do you have a lot of the kids that participated younger come back as volunteers when they get older?
Yeah, almost all. I mean, almost all of them. If they were involved as kids and they came on a regular basis, they always come back.
Really.
And again, I know I'm a Raynham guy, but I just think that the Raynham kids that you know, how they show that respect and that leadership to come back and help for nothing, other than the free T-shirts that I give out. You know, the fact they come back and give back to their town. You know.
Excellent. And is there a charge for the participants?
The speed camp itself is absolutely free. The only thing I ask is, especially kids that are there for the first time, if they're 8, 9, or 10 years old and that's their first time, I would like the parents to stick around.
Oh,
I think it's very, I think it's very nice that the parents trust me enough to just leave their kids there. But if it's their first, because it's not easy. You know, some 8-year-olds can do it no problem, and they're quick learners, and it's hard work. But you got to remember, you're doing a workout that high school kids and some college kids are doing, so it's not for everyone. That's why they get the T-shirts. That's why we give them the little bit of the attaboy pat on the back, because it's not for everybody. It's hard. So, but that being said, once you know that they're good to go, it's not like everybody has to stay.
Do they need to register in advance for this, Lou? Or?
Not in advance, and I get calls all summer. But right now, I don't even put it in the newspaper. I mean, I do the local cable
just
to talk about it. I have to, because I don't even know. It's just so many people. I don't want to get so big that we can't do it, or so big that the Raynham kids would miss out on it, because we do have kids from Taunton, Mansfield.
Really?
Yeah, we have kids come from all over, East Bridgewater, which is great. But I don't think I want to advertise it too much, and with the economy being what it is free.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure the Raynham kids come first.
Okay, so everybody, don't keep it quiet. Just tell your friends.
Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. And how long does that go? How many weeks usually?
The entire summer.
The whole
so
summer.
We'll get that through right till I shouldn't say the entire summer. It's right till the end of the summer, because then we start Jocks football camp.
Okay.
And I don't have the dates on that yet, but that's usually the second week in August.
Okay.
Which again is sponsored by the police department. That one we do have a small charge. I think it's like $50 per athlete, because all that money, the proceeds go to the Raynham Giants football team to refurbish helmets.
Oh, great.
And to make sure that kids that can't afford to play get to play. So that one does have a small cost, but it's still the cheap. If $10 a day, you figure, it's still the cheapest football camp around. So.
Age requirements for that, or?
8 years old as well. That's 8. Might be 7. Might be 7 years old for that one.
Okay. All right. Good. And how many kids do you usually get involved in that? Is there a limit, or?
We if you can get your own equipment, there's no limit.
Okay.
We outfit everybody. Last year we had 135 kids.
Oh my goodness.
And then we had another 10 kids from out of town.
Wow.
But we only have so much equipment. That's because we do wear helmets and shoulder pads for the football camp.
Now, is that a training program? You teach them, or just they actually play, or? How does that work?
That's a great question. Really, it's all drills.
Okay.
The way I explain it is, if you had a child who was thinking, geez, football might be my thing, this is the best way to find out.
Okay.
If they go to Jocks, if they go to Jocks football camp and hate it, they're not going to like regular football.
Right.
So it's kind of a good little test, just to go out there, run around. There's no hitting, but it lets them get used to wearing the helmet, lets them get used to wearing the shoulder pads. It does let them get used to how hot it gets running around all that equipment. And then see if they like the fun drills and all the stuff that we do, because football it's just not for everybody.
Excellent. So you're going to be busy all summer.
Yeah.
You mentioned about being sponsored by the Raynham Police Department. Our school resource officer also is provided through our Raynham Police Department. Does not come through the school district budget whatsoever.
No,
and thank goodness, that our police chiefs have supported that, because it is so important.
yeah, it's actually, they were so ahead of it, so ahead of the curve, or whatever you want, thinking out of the box, whatever cliche you want to use.
Right.
But I know that the selectmen, and the town selectmen, and all of our police chiefs always thought, and back to Chief King, who he's a Cub Scout. You wouldn't know half the things he does, but he's a Boy Scout leader. He does all the photographs for the kids for their awards and
everybody
stuff.
in town, I know.
You know what I mean? So, but it's just one of those things. But he always knew, and Chief Pacheco again, and it was the same, that they always say our most precious gifts are our children, and they always thought it was very important to have a police officer in the schools, even if the grant money ran out. So they thought ahead of time and never made it a grant position. They always made it a regular police position, and it's kind of expanded into a lot bigger position than it used to be. But I'm so glad we have it. And if I was not a police officer, but I was in a town with kids, I would want to think there was a police officer in the schools to help my child if it was needed.
Absolutely. And from the police perspective too, I'm sure it's helpful for you, because I know you're the juvenile officer usually in the department too, because you know the kids, you know the players.
Correct. And it's we have such great kids. It's just one of those things where it's not like the juvenile officers going around and trying to arrest kids. You know what I mean? Really, the real deal is so they have a face to know that the police really are there to help you.
Right. But you also know if there are kids that are having a tough time.
And that's what I'm saying. If they're getting themselves into trouble, if they're having problems at home or at school, if there's things going on that the police should know about, a lot easier for them to come talk to me than it's going to be to just grab a police officer off the street.
Now, you must obviously kind of enjoy this, working in the schools.
Yeah, it's probably my, I love coaching. So that's why we do all that summer stuff. I really enjoy teaching, and I think it's when I do a 5th grade class and I hear some of the questions that the kids ask, it makes you feel like it's a good thing you're there. You know what I mean? Because they ask questions that are very pertinent, very, very, and whether it's from bullying or drugs or things they've been offered, and it's nice to know that they do have these questions and someone's there to answer it for them.
What about as far as the drug situation is concerned? Is that something parents always need to kind of be on the lookout for, or be aware of when they have kids of a certain age?
We just have and I've been saying it for 2 years now, but we have like a prescription pill epidemic.
Really?
And it's scary. Kids are crushing pills and snorting them at the high school level. We have high school students that have been addicted to heroin because of prescription pills. So it's definitely something that's out there. It's definitely something parents should be aware of. But again, when you're talking to kids about that stuff, it's good that you're not trying to hide it from them. You're not telling them to stick their head in the sand. You want them to know it's out there, and hopefully that's something.
And be aware that there's something that could be very dangerous for them.
Absolutely. I always, again, I'll go back to my 5th grade class. I tell kids, the biggest, they'll say, "Oh, thanks for coming." The biggest way you can thank me is go home tonight or next time you have dinner with your family and sit down and talk about some of the stuff we just talked about. That's a thank you to me. Gives you an opportunity or an avenue to start a conversation about something that you might not normally be able to start a conversation about. And they can talk to their parents about it, and I think everybody would feel better about it.
And from parents' perspective, they should be willing to listen and not necessarily be judgmental, but listen to what the kids are concerned about.
They know, kids. The kids know everything. They think they know everything, but when it comes to drugs and the stuff they're seeing, If they're having a one-on-one with you, or they trust you enough to talk to you about this stuff,
Right.
absolutely you should be listening,
Right,
because
right,
I'm
the
telling you, it's
attitude,
out
I
there.
don't want to hear about it. It's not going to work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The head in the sand is not going to work, and it's out there.
Right.
And with marijuana is more popular than ever with the decriminalization. I mean, we can go another show on that whole thing too.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's definitely something kids are talking about. They're aware of it, and they do have questions about it. So I would say, if you get a chance, bring up the conversation.
And what about our friendly internet? Is that still a real concern with kids?
It is both the cell phones
Oh, cell phones, yeah, cell phones.
and the internet. I'm actually going to an advanced cell phone class next month. But right now, computers and cell phones and kids, mostly because, especially with my age, 40, 45 years old, we didn't grow up with computers. But these kids nowadays literally were born with computers and have had them their whole lives. So usually kids are not smarter than adults on a lot of, they think they are, but they're not smarter than adults on a lot of things. But with phones and computers, a lot of times they are. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on there that is criminal, that is dangerous. With the photographs and then the different the bullying that goes on by computer or by text and all that stuff. So it's definitely out there. It's definitely a huge component of what we do, and I am trying my best to kind of keep up to speed with it.
What advice do you have to parents as far as that's concerned, Lou?
Again, I can't just say it enough. You just can't pretend like it's not there. I mean, you don't have to be a computer expert, but you should be aware of what your children are doing on the computer, and you should really be aware of. I didn't realize for the longest time that just an Xbox game system, all it is a computer. Really, I mean that you can chat on there, you can do all the stuff on there that you could do on a regular computer. So again, it's just kind of learning and having some knowledge on what is around you, because the kids are definitely using it. I mean, there's no kid that's not texting 24/7 or Facebooking or some type of social media.
Well, we were just at Merrill's school the other day, and the little kindergarten children getting their lunch, and they're punching in their numbers on the little. They're knowing exactly what to do. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, honestly, and as far as when I went to school, we took typing class to learn how to type. I mean, these kids can text with a phone in their pocket. You don't have to look at it. I mean, that's amazing to me. I mean, it takes me. Shouldn't admit this, but to text one sentence takes me about 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, I know. So it is, like you said, it can be good, but it can also be very scary.
Well, yeah, but it's here, and for the most part, it is good.
Yeah.
And you're not going to hide it, and it's out there. So, like I said, just kind of keeping up to speed and talking about it.
Exactly. Very good. Well, if people do have questions, they can always reach you through the police department?
Yep. If you call the Raynham Police Department, they will put you through to my voicemail, and that'll go to my phone, and they can reach me direct there. Absolutely.
Okay, very good. And we are just about out of time, but we want to invite you to come back again soon and keep us updated on all the things going on.
Yeah, we have to come back because Liz owes me, because Liz Francis was supposed to be here today. So, but she, like I said, as far as the teen center goes, she's kind of heading it, so we could probably miss some stuff today. I don't want to take up too much time, but Mike and I are going to go to the school as well, kind of maybe put some video of what we're looking to do down there, which would be kind of cool for the show.
Okay, terrific, definitely. So we'll have you back soon about that.
Thank
you very much. Our guest today, Officer Lou Pacheco. We want to thank you for being with us as well. We'll see you here on our next Inside Scoop.
We did good for a half hour.